Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another one. Decided to knock out another Supreme Commander Forged Alliance. Top rated 1v1 level today. Let's go through the cycles. It is, of course, the game that we know and love, the Forged Alliance Forever variant. If you don't know what that is, then I don't know what you're doing here because, well, I struggled to find the channel myself and it's my own channel. Here we are, it is Games with Brains, and without any further ado, let's go jump into the game. We'll get rid of the music right now, and taking a quick look before we get underway. In the blue team, we've got LaissezFairy. I'm just going to call him Fairy. I assume it's a he. He is playing as blue. As Aeon, we haven't yet had time for him to gate in, so let's go ahead and do that, so at least we can see what we're looking at. In fact, we can just carry on playing there. He is playing Aeon, going first land at the top. It is a 20 by 20 map on the MapGen today. We can see a whole ton of water on this one, so Navy and Air likely to feature strong. Down at the south side, it is a returning player, YellowNoob, in red. He is playing as Cybran, and he'll be on the south side today. Also going first land, so we'll see how these builds vary. We see that he is going what seems to be 4P gen, then a mix, and then another mix, and then potentially air. Up here, he's going a much easier build, at least for me to see. 4P gens, a mix, and I guess he was tabbed out doing something else. And we're into some conversations here, YellowNoob. As I said, I did not want to bully Noob. It was a lie, though. Okay, so I'm guessing these guys have been involved in a previous game. You always want me to feel bad, even though... Okay, so they've been involved in something before this game that we are unawares of. Let's have a little look at how these guys are going to expand. So he's got Engineer out on manual reclaim. That takes a lot of work. Yes, it reclaims, I don't know the exact how much quicker it is from an auto reclaim, but it's at least twice as quick in terms of eco. So if you've got the APM to spare, this pays off rather than just doing your attack move like this guy is straight out the factory. I'm not sure how much is there. Okay, the eco these guys pull in these trees is too low to appear on my screen, unlike some of these rocks, so there's definitely something there. I wouldn't be doing it. And we see he is off on his 7th P-Gen. Still hasn't started yet on his 2nd factory. And looks like Fairy's doing the same. He's also on his 7th P-Gen. Looks like he's going for a ton more. He's got 2 NGs assisting the ACU. He's got at least 3 NGs expanding there. Very similar with the manual reclaim here, which is interesting because don't forget this is a MapGen map, so they won't have had options to practice this, but interesting how they both sent an NG doing all these reclaims, then collecting these 4 mechs. You see they've both done the same. Very much less on the reclaim there. Also interesting, sending out a lab or a flare to the front here. I assume he's preempting some sort of a drop or engineer setting up shop or something like that. So he's just got the one flare there. It's not going to provide the best protection ever, but it will take out an engineer and it will provide him the intel that he needs should a drop take place. So I quite like that, what he's done with the flare there. And other than that, just the usual expansion. We do have the 2nd factory out from Fairy now, which was a land factory, the 3rd one being air. And we come down here, he's already working on the 4th. He has his transport rushed out of the air factory. Always a bit of a gamble, but on a 20 by 20 map, you can usually get away with it. It's unlikely the other guy can get an air factory and the power to run it and get an interceptor across a 20 by 20 map before you can get a transport out. So YellowNoob taking advantage of that theory and running out. Where's he going? He's got a full boat of NGs there, 6 I believe. And looks like he's going to drop some here and take the left side, the west side as we would see it. Putting down the obligatory land factory there. Again, great for defense, so it's not just to spit out engineers to reclaim, but you can put out land units to help defend at a moment's notice, as well as it absorbing HP, as we discussed last time. We've got another factory down here. Looks like Fairy's got the auto upgrade pause mod. As soon as it is useful, because if nothing else, you see these little red dots that sort of let you know, hey, this mech isn't upgraded yet. That's how I find it useful. Of course, you can then just unpause them when you're ready to upgrade, and that's it, because they're already technically started their upgrade. If you hover mouse, you can see in the lower left there, they're all at 0% on the way to Tech 2. Again, it's more of a, oh, this one isn't upgraded yet, I'll unpause it kind of a mod. At least I found it useful. That was even there back when I played, and I certainly made use of that one. I also had the auto upgrade. You can still see it here. That was useful as well, because it worked for factories as well as mexes. In any case, looks like both players beginning to scout, nearing completion, capturing their own island. Not too much happening yet. Remember, it is a 20 by 20, and they were both pretty much at the back of where they were. YellowNoob being quite aggressive up on the west side here, capping both of these islands. Setting up shop there. Radar first. Oh, factory first. Forgot which order they were in, but both important. I mean, don't forget, a radar, while it not necessarily being a defensive structure, will allow you to see if an enemy aircraft's coming, certainly at the T1 level, and then you can dodge, at least having a clue that something's coming. And with the couple of inties there, manages to take out that scout from Fairy, who will no doubt now, if we take a look, be awares of the situation, and he certainly is. He's also running scouts down on the east side. Nobody's yet made a move. I imagine Fairy's going to make a play for that momentarily. If we zoom in, take a look. Has he got... I'm not seeing a transport yet. We've got bombers out and engineers. He's already T2 airfac on the 6-minute mark. Pumping out NGs. YellowNoob making a play for the sea. He's got one naval factory so far. It's spitting out a frigate. He's also setting up shop over here with a bunch more naval yards, so this could be interesting. Fairy just making a start now on his naval. He's a little slow. I'm not entirely sure what his commander's doing there. I would have thought his ACU might be helping with the naval factory. He surely can't be hiding already. It's a little early in the day, but maybe he is. Maybe he fears the Corsair snipe. I don't know. I'm a little confused as to what he's doing there in the sea. Perhaps somebody would like to give us an idea of what he's doing there. Still nobody made a play on the east side here. I'm kind of surprised, because YellowNoob's had the west for at least a couple of minutes. We've got more naval factories down here, so we've got some down here, we've got some up here, and then we've got these here. So Fairy's going to have to get a move on if he's not to be knocked out of the water. And now we can see the frigate is attacking the naval factory that was not finished. The NG goes down, and ACU comes in with the torp launcher. Gonna have to require that. A couple of T1 bombers on the top, taking what, 400 hit points off out of 1900, so that's going to take a few passes, and a little dodge is all that is needed. YellowNoob's trying to shut down the factory, and torp launcher goes online. That's going to get rid of that frigate, no problem. There you see the hit points evaporating, and his ACU goes to work on a second naval factory, seen as the first was destroyed. Meanwhile, YellowNoob has got 1, 2, 3 online, 4, 5, 6, 8 factories online versus the 1. This is going to be a problem for Fairy unless he gets this sorted out real quick. He's also encroaching on his mainland here with a couple of NGs. Looks like they're just there to pinch some reclaim, and that was a very deliberate move. If you look at his order there, that was a very specific in there to pinch stuff. Here you see Fairy recognizes a threat, probably just on radar. Indeed he does. Puts up a PD. Probably wasn't expecting it just to be 2 NGs, otherwise this was an excessive force to deal with it. But he's now pushing out with T2 Blazes, and this is perfect counter to this T1 kind of spam. And I'm wondering, is he going to try and get rid of these factories? Is it enough, just 2 Blazes? I'm guessing no, but he is able to clear off some of these NGs, and he's starting to attack these naval yards from range. Meanwhile, YellowNoob is going up top with a solitary Wagner, also the T2 amphib unit. And looks like Fairy has given up the idea of chasing. Again, it's always a good move if you can use 1 unit to pull away 3 or 4 times the strength of the enemy and you just keep moving it off into the corner. It's a real good play because it's a 4-to-1 win-loss ratio really. You're taking out 4 units at the cost of 1, but it looks like he's not falling for that, and he is making a move for these factories here. Wagners, of course, traverse underneath the water, not on the surface, so can't really engage with what's going on. And looks like Fairy is capturing the east side. Got a solitary PD down here from YellowNoob. Is that going to take out? It does take out the factory. Is he going to manage to kill? He takes out the radar. Why is it going after the PD? Surely these are the priority. Oh, it gets a rank of vet. Wow, okay. Gets a rank of vet in the nick of time. This island may go to YellowNoob too. We'll just see. Fairy does have 2 NGs left. I'm not sure why YellowNoob brings an empty transport over, but he does. Bomber from Fairy and onto the PD. Fairy, of course, with the 2 NGs standing by. And managing to take it out there. The PD here able to pick off the other PD through lack of intel. We've got naval bombers here from Fairy as well. Able to take out Noob's naval facts up on the left side here. Got a little bit of a battle going. The Wagner's able to outgun the T1 frigates. Only just. But now being ganged up on. And with the frigates having the slightly better range as well, it's going to be a losing battle. He does have a... Oh my goodness, he's got his T2 HQ up there. Tell me that doesn't have another HQ. Okay, does he not? He's going to lose his HQ. That was a little bit of a mistake building the HQ there. I'm not sure if that was deliberate or not. Looks like Fairy's going to shut that down pretty quick. And we've got a strat bomb in at 13 minutes. That takes out crucial power network there. YellowNoob with a ton of fighters in hot pursuit, but that has proper stalled him off there on the power. He immediately addresses the situation, pauses all his unnecessary facts. He has to get this online. Let's go back to the observer. Fairy playing it well, and instead of electing for further targets, elects to save the strat, outrunning the T1 inties, of course, flying in a straight line. As soon as that thing starts twisting and turning, the inties have got it. YellowNoob with the superior air force at the minute, even though it is completely out-teched, he's certainly got the numbers, so Fairy's going to want to be aware of that. He's got a bunch of T1 here on harass duty, but it's, again, it's more than harass when it starts doing damage, but it's... Fairy's also taking the top island there on the left as well as the 2 islands on the right, so this is starting to look like it's going Fairy's way, except for the Navy, and that could be a concern. You see he's also building factories left, right and centre, as well as YellowNoob. Quick count. Actually, YellowNoob losing some from earlier on. He's got the 4 and he's got 6 here. Fairy on about 7 at the minute. Oh, another one over there on 8. Mind you, 6 there, 2 there, 8. So it's 8 factories apiece at the minute. Here's that strat again coming in from the other side. Is it going to get picked off? Wow, that's close. It's on pretty much full health. It's coming in. He did manage to get the T3P gen on, but that bomb really hurt, taking out a whole bunch of engines and knocking the ion reactor down by half, but he did get a second one on. So his power problems are away, but that was a lot of build power that he lost. The strat continuing to take out T2 mechs is on its way round. Of course, T1 pulled back now. He's also got a strat bomber of his own as YellowNoob. It's of course, Cybern having the stealth option. Question is the stealth activated? Well, there's no radar over there from Fairy, that's for sure. He's still got a single interceptor on the case here, going after it. He's just not going to have the firepower to take that out, I don't think. And with an ASF on its tail, it's not going to last long. Fairy pushing down on the west side now with these T2 blazes. Of course, not the strongest unit, but when you start packing them together and their ability to fire on the surface, it starts to become more than an harass. You need to start dealing with this. I'm not sure what YellowNoob's got to deal with that right at the minute. He's working on gunships, which will be the best counter for that at the minute. He just needs to be aware that you don't fall behind. It seems that Fairy was the first to get to T3 air. He's still got hold of his strat with 29 kills, as well as a few ASF as well. And now we got the T2 gunship. They're going to try and build a PD. So it's a day late and $1 short at this stage. I think that whole thing there is going to go down. These gunships will eventually chew through those blazes, but it looks like he's going to lose basically everything there on the west before it does. YellowNoob still looks like he's got the numbers in the air, and he's starting to put the ASF into the mix as well now. And we've got a first engagement here, and it's going to be numbers versus tech. Of course, YellowNoob down to what looks like just 2 or 3 ASF, and he's sneaking in a... Oh, I thought he was going to do something clever then and sneak the strat in while the fight was taking place, but it looks like he doesn't, and instead he's just using the strat defensively. Perhaps accidentally selected it and put it on patrol with the rest of his aircraft, I don't know. That strat would be useful to tidy these units up here. I'm not even sure YellowNoob knows that they're there. No, he does not. He does not have the radar coverage, so he needs to work and get that sorted out soon. Fairy will no doubt realise that they are there and move them into something more useful soon. But now we can see reclaims already underway. Looks like he took out 3 or 4 mechs here, as well as on the left. I don't know. I mean, the Fairy, he's got both his islands, and YellowNoob's got neither. Fairy also got 1 or 2 mechs here. Noob regaining his left side. And Fairy once again causing problems with his strat. Perfectly placed bomb takes out 2 for 1. Escorted with a whole bunch of ASF. Those were Tech 2 mexes. And that's going to return, and I'm going to guess it's going to place right about here. I guess he decides they were perhaps a little bit too far to try. Look how quick Noob is on reclaiming and getting straight on with that. The strat retains. 37 kills in pretty much perfect health. Now there is now 1 ASF on the case. Oh, look at that. 38 kills, now 51. What a bomb that was. Good job this was a T3 Mex. Prevents it from being killed despite the storage. There's another strat bomber here. He's got the blazes on here. So right now, things not looking good for YellowNoob on his island, certainly. He's completely lost air dominance. And he's got blazes there, so he can't use his gunships to deal with. Although he's starting to put some SAMs on, which is a perfect counter to the strats. And yeah, you're not going to be able to park your air over a couple of SAM sites for very long. And the strat coming in onto his power grid. I'm surprised he didn't go for the NGs there. I mean, he had intel. That would have been a juicy target, all those T3 NGs, but instead electing to weaken that. And he's still not going for it on his way back. He's going for the power grid and he very nearly got it. I guess he needs one more strat, and here they come. Things really not looking good at all now for YellowNoob, and it was a well-placed bomb. Takes out 2 PGens as well as the T3 air. But these SAMs are going to start taking their toll. I think although the run was good, this is going to be the last one that Fairy has over his main base. He gets critical buildings shielded just in time, and that they are the weak shield, but they're just enough to prevent the bombs hitting. And looks like we've got this one coming in. He's going to get one off. And missing the key targets there, I think. Meanwhile, we've got a Navy battle going on. That was a big thing in the air. Nothing at all up top. And I don't know where Fairy's Navy came from all of a sudden. Looks like he's got a whole bunch of factories now pumping stuff out. But I would say YellowNoob's got more. The only question is, does he have the eco to fund? And yes, he does. He's balancing perfectly. Look at that. About 1,000 mass at this stage with such huge figures. That's real good balance. And again with the strats going after key targets. Does he not have the intel on these things? Because they're causing him lots of problems. Navy wise, looks like YellowNoob is just going for pure spam at the minute. Able to out-frig his opponent right now. Yeah. And looking like Fairy's objective is to go taking out the factories rather than win the naval battle. And I think that's the right decision. I think he's correctly realised that he may have equal numbers of ships, but his opponent's got more factories. So there's pointless going for a fight, even if it's 50-50. This makes a lot more sense, and there it goes. The factories are starting to tumble. YellowNoob really needs to get a move on and put his ships together with his factories to get himself that bonus with the hit point absorbing, and it looks like he's a little bit too slow there. I don't know if he's wanting to use these ships to make sure that these factories don't get overrun. I'm not entirely sure what the game is there, but so far he's losing 6 factories. And it's probably a 7th going to go down as well. It does, of course, having more ships reinforcing from the rear. Of course, Fairy at this level, while that attack's taking place, coming here again, elects to avoid the PD, and I would say that's the correct decision. I think that PD would have eventually killed those 4 blazes, or at least almost all of them, and instead he's using the blazes to go after the factories on this side. Meanwhile, looks like YellowNoob managed to hang on to that factory only just. And again, yeah, the Cybran stuff auto-repairing. Look at the HP regen there. Right, well, taking stock here, 25 minutes in nearly, and fair to say that almost all the action has been over YellowNoob's base, but he is holding on. Fairy coming in again with the T2 amphib tanks assaulting on that left side. YellowNoob got a couple of Medusas to try and defend, but that's not going to work. And now they're going to start picking away. This mech's T2 on its way to a T3, and looks like he's going to chew through it. Noob desperately trying to hold on to that, doesn't want to lose that. And NG's able to rep it up. Fairy recognizes what's happened and he sends his tanks back. And that is unfortunate. And again, taking out another one here. Attacking on all quarters, really. And again, Fairy's side seems completely unmolested at the minute. Big naval battle again, and again here's where I just wish that Noob would put his ships over with where the enemy is when they're at the factories, right? And it looks like he is doing so now. And Fairy recognizes the threat and starts to pull out at least the majority of his forces. Leaves enough behind to cause damage, but not so that he gets wiped out. And look how many factories that's cost. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 factories. Got continuing battle over here. T2 coming in from Fairy now. But yeah, this is what I like. You tangle up your forces with the factories. Now when this guy shoots, it's going to hit the factory, not the ship. See, because it's behind the factory. Whereas all your shots pass through. That's case in point right there. Fairy's starting to chuck T1 bombers at this navy, and YellowNoob coming back on the air game with a vengeance. Look at that, he's got a whole bunch of T2 here. That's going to clean that up, no problem. And ASF numbers, let's have a little quick look. Looking a bit more even. We've got 36 for YellowNoob. If we come over here, we've got 38 for Fairy. So Noob done wonders to catch back up on the air game, considering how far behind he was not 5 minutes ago. We've got T1 bombers circling from Fairy, just being harassed, but they are able to finish off another one of the structures here. I think YellowNoob's completely forgotten about this. You see, you've got Fairy is probably concerned about it, and he's moved these T2 units over there. Probably not aware exactly what is going on there. Navy's squaring off, looking a little more cohesive now. A little more 50-50. Yes, Fairy still has the sides, but YellowNoob getting a whole bunch of intel there with all these scouts, aware exactly what's going on at this point. And there's the first big air engage of the Tech 3 level. And looks like Noob getting a terrible turn there. We saw that the numbers were about even. Well, they're anything but even now. And he's drawing them right over base where he's got his SAMs. Fairy recognizes that was the case and pulls out, and wisely so. Again, you've got with just the solitary unit here with 9 kills. How annoying. And here we've got the T1 bomber, just one, but of course able to take out units and NGs and generally be very annoying. And what do you know, a whole bunch more blazes coming in. Down the west side, Meanwhile, Noob pushing in down through the middle against T1 versus T2. This is only going to go one way, and he's leaving a whole bunch of wreckage for his opponent to scoop up as well. Speaking of which, YellowNoob is on 500 mass per tick. Fairy only on... missed it now. Only on about... where we go, that's totals... Where have we gone? There we go. Fairy only on... it's about 150 mass per tick behind. I'm not entirely sure how that has happened, seeing as he's been ahead most of the game in terms of territory. I guess the reclaim he's been leaving for YellowNoob has he's put into good effect. Once again, look at this with the blazes just absolutely cleaning up on YellowNoob's navy here. Factory after factory going down. Airfight again in the middle, still looks 50-50. Perhaps Fairy getting a tighter formation in and the better turns certainly does. I don't think Noob traded too bad then, considering he was all out of formation. But he'll certainly want to go home and regroup, and I imagine Fairy too. Fairy launching a whole wave of T1 bombers. They were picked up. Look at the amount of intel Noob's got going on the base. Fairy's decided, I've had enough of that. I'm taking your scouts out. They've been here half a day. Once again with the blazes pushing in, taking out yet more factories, engineers. Actually pushing straight through, not sticking around to finish off the factories. I'm not sure. Okay, he wants to go after the mexes. Here we go with air again. It's all taking place now. We see we've got a whole bunch of NGs as well there from Fairy to clean up on those navies on the west side. Still looking very quiet at the top. There's one scout left for YellowNoob up there. Meanwhile, these blazes pushing through, taking quite a while to chew through these T3 mexes. Does manage to get one, and here you see the SAMs picking off at these aircraft. Yeah, quite a juicy target, but YellowNoob recognizing the threat. He's got T3 NGs. These are going to build nice and quick T1 PD, and he wastes no time doing so. He also sends a bunch of T1 bombers in. I don't think these blazes are going to get very much done. There's also gunships turned up for YellowNoob as well. I'd be surprised if they even get a single kill, and they don't. Mech-wise, they managed to get a couple of storages in the shield, and that is all. Meanwhile, the naval battle continues to... look at the amount of naval factories here from YellowNoob. This is naval spam to a whole new level, is this. Nice to see. Do we got any tech yet from... we do got a solitary HQ back here, but that seems to be it. Everything else T1. Do we got any support in, or are these all... It's all T1 apart from the HQ. About here. He's just pumping out NGs. Looks like YellowNoob finally electing... oh, look at all those bombers going in. Are they going to take... it's a T2. Okay. It does take out the T2. YellowNoob moving to intercept. They're not going to get another pass. They do partial damage to T2. We've got the blazes over on this side, but I don't think they're going to get much done now either. We've got T3 mexes here now. He's got PDs built up all around there. I think YellowNoob's learnt his lesson now, and I would be surprised to see Fairy send in more groups of T2. I think they've had their day. The battle's all in the Navy now, and you can see it's basically T1 from YellowNoob all day, apart from a couple of T2s. On the other side, we've got Omen-class battleships, or ship, should I say. We've got a solitary battleship and a whole bunch of T1, a couple of T2s, but the problem is, when you're completely swarmed, I mean, mech marines, one by itself is harmless, right? But when you get 100, 200 around anything, they're going to start piling on the damage, even to an ACU. That's kind of what's going on here. I mean, these things will eventually tickle that thing to death. I mean, it can only fire so many shots per, well, I was going to say second. It's not even that, is it? Yes, one shot, one kill, but takes so long to get the gun charged. This is probably the best naval counter if you're not at the T3 stage yourself. Mass T1. And for now, it appears to be working. You can see he's continuing to build more and more factories. Air battle is certainly going YellowNoob's way. He's got air dome right over the enemy target. I'd be surprised not to see some strap bombs or torpedoes coming that way in a minute. But for now, he's happy just to sit on his air dome. He's taking out these strap bombs that have been to such devastating effect to him earlier on in the game. He's got intel for days over here as well. Fairy, though, still on with the sides. Looks like YellowNoob's saying, look, you can have them. Not worth my time. Not worth my APM. I'm just going to build, look at this, factories for days, all down here, all up the sides, continuing to push them up through the middle. And again, the factories serve as hit point absorbers when you're defending, so they're the perfect unit to build at this stage, if you want to call it a unit. And here we see him pushing up for the front. Fairy's starting to layer his T2 bubble shields. There he's got an aircraft carrier. There's the torpedo bombers we thought we might see, and they're picking on that aircraft carrier. Of course, it's got SAM defense, so it's going to be target number one. I think those torpedo bombers might get it. The torpedo bombers also going for the T3 HQ. Fairy managing to keep it alive with his engines, moving a couple of shields over, and he does manage to keep it. Instead, he switches back to the T3 anti-airship, the aircraft carrier, and does take it out. And Fairy now spamming flak units down over here as well, parking flak underneath those aircraft. Yes, please. Let's see how it goes. Can take out ASF if they fly in a straight line over flak. He'll aim for the first guy, he'll miss, but the rest of them. Very good. Fairy now managing to gain critical mass with his T3 and his T2, and able to push back. He's of course got a whole bunch of T1 as well. The only thing with these battleships is, you know, the rate of fire is slow, so slow. They've got to almost be microed against the targets worth killing. I mean, frankly, if it's just frigates, well, not much you can do, but oh, look at the map. It's turning into factories for YellowNoob. Looks like Fairy has recognized the situation that he needs to get more factories on the go. And he's trying to do that here, but look at the torp bombers, and of course there's nothing he can do because YellowNoob's got complete air dome. What do? You need cruisers, right? But you can't build cruisers because too many frigates. So you need destroyers, but destroyers are vulnerable to torp bombers. So what are you down to? Well, frigates again then. But it's way past the frigate stage. He's got to make these battleships count as Fairy. And looks like YellowNoob's got support commanders and is going to do the harm creep, a bit like PD creep, up through the middle. Question is, has he been a little too ambitious trying to build them there? I mean, he's got ships pouring in from all sides, trying to curtail the situation, but looks like it's not going to work. These battleships got a lot of kills, but you know what? Their health is down to about half. And yeah, okay, going after the T3 Naval HQ. That's a sensible target. Need to try and finish that off. They are taking loss. And yeah. Fairy trying to do what he can with his air force, but he just doesn't have the numbers. He does have a couple of cruisers here, so it'd be wise to hang out over his cruisers and his flak. And there's another one, and he does manage to get another aircraft carrier, which is vital. It's already got 15 kills. One of the Omen class does go down. Looks like the torp bomber's making a concerted effort for the other one. He's going to go down. Perfect place for the reclaim by these support commanders, and the third one goes down as well. That is pretty much a disaster there for Fairy, and I don't actually believe what I'm seeing here, but it looks like YellowNoob is starting to make a comeback with nothing more than T1 spam together with torpedo bombers, and looks like the air game did even out some, but what am I talking about? He's got a whole bunch of ASF here. Fairy making a move on some unguarded T2 torp bombers. But YellowNoob relentless with the pressure here, just pushing more and more spam through. I'm starting to feel like that Fairy is running out of ideas here. He's hanging on to air only just, I mean. But YellowNoob's overrunning his base right now with spam. The old Shift G right by Fairy's HQ there. And Fairy running out of units. Noob inquiring what his eco is. I assume because he's got the side islands, he maybe feels that Fairy's got a bigger eco, but I'm not sure. And here, Omen class going down again, being tickled to death. Not at all getting value for money. 14 kills there, which is nothing, right? I mean, how many ships worth, how many frigates worth of mass is in one battleship? Well, it's more than 13, so very bad value there. We've got a whole wave of torp bombers again. And it, to me, looks like the Navy game is wearing out fast. And Fairy realizes it. He's lost Navy, he's lost air, and with it, he loses his patience, chucks in the towel, and decides, you know what, I've had enough. And with that, hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.